Hey, how you doing? The name's Cat Dad Things, and today we're back in Albion Online, and I figured I'd go through a nice little PvE build. If you're a noob, you're trying to get into this game, you don't know what to do for grinding out dungeons very fast, or even if you've been experienced for a long while and you want to check out something else, I have a new PvE build for you today, so stick around. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you like this channel, if you want to see more content like this, and we'll get right into the build. Generally, I kind of go for the melee builds because those are my personal favorite, but this time around I figured let me try a ranged build just so there's some variety and people don't get sick of seeing the same old thing over and over and over again. The build is simple. It may seem a little unorthodox, but when you see it in practice, it covers everything. It covers mob clears in groups, and it covers boss damage, because a lot of the builds that you see out there or that you might have done yourself, they clear bosses or they clear mobs just fine, like they do nice AoE, but then you come to a boss and it kind of slows down your clear if you're doing dungeons. So I mean open world as well, but that's the key, is this build can handle both sides. It might take a little bit of skill to use at first, knowing your limits so you don't keep getting downed and having repair costs, but I promise just a little bit of practice and you can use it just fine. So after I clear this room here, this little raven, just pop that, I'll run away, and he's gone. Alrighty, so let's take a look. We start with the Adept Stalker Hood. Now I'm only doing the Adept because I brought it down to equivalent to tier 6. That way it showcases how even new players can get into this. I'll show you the cost right here. It's about 400k, so you might have to save up a little bit, but trust me, it is well worth it. So Adept Stalker Hood, you're going to go Mortal Agony, Balanced Mind, extra DPS. The Mortal Agony, it gives you a damage boost. I mean, it's clear as mud, that's why we use it. So one of the main things about this build, especially for taking down bosses, couldn't kill that bad, alright, is the Adept's Spectre Jacket, because you're going to use Self-Ignition. Why the heck are we using Self-Ignition? Well, I'm going to tell you why. When you use this, you ignite yourself for 2% true damage, and it ticks on you. But it also does damage in AoE to enemies around you. So you see the difference there. Your max health, 2%, you're falling, you're getting decreased. Your healing is decreased as well. You can pair it up with like roast pork or something, but I kind of like to use soup regardless. Either way, you can burn bosses very fast with this. Again, Balanced Mind. Also, the stats in the Spectre Jacket are high. Your physical and your magical damage output is actually pretty high for leather. Boots. Adept's Royal Sandals. Again, we're going to go for the aggression because we want more deeps. But for the ability, Defenseless Rush. So yes, this brings down your defense. It lowers it. But that's okay, because we want that 15% damage boost. That's what we're after. So for cape, the cape is, I've played around with it. I kind of like the Theford cape just because it gives the most consistent DPS. It gives you a proc every 15 seconds. That's nice. Who doesn't like that? Offhand, the Adept's Crypt Candle. So again, this does lower your defense. All these defense lowers and this like self-ignition thing going on here, that's why you kind of have to learn how to work and weave with this. But once you get this build down, you'll just roll through dungeons like nothing. But look at that ability bonus increase. I mean, it's a lot of damage, so that's why we take that. And for the main weapon is the light crossbow. Reason being, crossbows, you get this nice little part on Q2 once you unlock that. I highly recommend it. It does a little explosive bolt near the ground. The cooldown is 2 seconds, super low, and it does a really good amount of damage. For your W, I tend to go for this one in the middle just because it will reduce resistances, so you want to use that on the bosses, for example. Best part is the E, Exploding Shot. You launch a sticky bomb at the target, it explodes after 2 seconds, so it does damage. A couple more seconds, it does a big chunk of damage, and it's an AoE, great for clearing mobs. I like to go the Well Prepared for my little extra ability down here, just because after the 4 spells you cast, you set the cooldown of your Q, so you can hit it twice if you're pairing it just right. So this build will allow you to steamroll through dungeons. You don't even need a lot of spec. You can just slap this gear on and steamroll through dungeons. Now, of course, that depends on the kind of map that you do. So let's take a look at our inventory. I was going for just the regular old tier 5 map, so that'll put it at basically like a 5.1 equivalent. Everything's increased by 16%. So I'll show you a little trick. If you go to the big world map, all this good stuff here. So this version I'm showing you is for if you want to be completely safe, you don't have to worry about any PvP whatsoever. We're doing it in yellow zones. So you can just go through all these dungeons all you want. No one will ever kill you and take your stuff. But if you go to areas like you would, for example, outside of Limhurst, or if you go over to Bridgewatch and you're trying to hit Lazy Grass, there's people everywhere. And there will be people trying to take your dungeons because people are jerks and that's what they do. So, and a nice little trick that you can do also, if you're like standing in this tier 5 zone here and you pop it, you could go here, you could go here, or you could go here. You don't know. So what you want to do is you want to find almost like a corner equivalent to the tier of zone you're trying to pop the map in. So we're trying to pop it right here. You find yourself a little corner, and what happens is it forces the map to be generated only here, because if you pop a map here, well, there's a 5 zone over there. So if you pop it here, it's not going to go all the way over here. It will stick to here, and that's the idea. So what you can do, and what I've been doing when I just feel like I want to farm and don't worry about getting dove or dealing with people, I just kind of stick right here at the edge of this map, pop it, and hit it. Once I'm done, I come back over here, pop another one, go back in. It's this nice little weave and bob that you can do that will get your maps in almost guaranteed. So yeah, if you look here, you reveal hidden entrance, it's consuming the process. Search my field if you're too far from a zone is the same tier of the map. So you don't want to be like so far away, like you're trying to pop it all the way over here. I've never tried because I haven't wasted a map like that. Maybe I should try just to find out. I don't know if it'll pop going that far, but generally you're safe doing it here, and it should pop there. If it doesn't, I haven't seen it yet. It might be, I don't know. I'm not a wizard and I'm not brilliant, but generally that's just a little trick. And most cities you can kind of find a zone that'll do that. Limhurst is just my city, that's why I do that. So let me just get through this dungeon here, and I'll take you to a boss fight, and I'll show you just how fast you can tread through the boss. Alrighty, so here we are. We do have one of the tougher bosses for the Morgana dungeons, which is nice because it can kind of showcase just how well this build works. So you're basically, you ignite yourself, you're using all of your stuff, you're just throwing stuff at him, and you just hope for the best. But look how fast that HP is shredding. Now, this is where the bobbing and weaving kind of comes in handy. I did bring health pots in case I need them in case of emergency, but look how much health he went down already. Like, it was super fast. If I was just running a normal, regular old run-of-the-mill build, this would take a lot longer. But I obliterated him. He incinerated in seconds. I'm just fine. So it takes a little bit of practice, but once you do it enough, you'll be able to whiz through these dungeons and take out these bosses no problem. So let's take out some mobs now so you can see how quick the clears are. So again, with the foods, I do take cabbage soup because of that regen you get out of combat. It's so fast, and you don't really go through much energy in this build. This build allows you, with the low cooldowns, to be able to be constantly fighting. You don't always have to wait for every single cooldown. You don't have to wait for your mana or your energy. You don't have to wait for your health. You just kind of steamroll through the entire dungeon, and it works. It just really works very well. So yes, this is a lower tier dungeon. This isn't for the epic gamer pros. You can take this if you want into higher tier zones. I mean, it's totally up to you. You can take it to red zones. If you want to risk losing the gear, that's your prerogative. You can do that. You can faction flag, get some faction flag points. If you want to take it all the way to the black zone and steamroll through black zone solo dungeons, you can do that as well. That's totally fine. But if you are a newer player and you're trying to get some PvE behind your belt, get some easy loot, get some easy fame, try this build out. It's a really fun one too, because sometimes I just want to turn off my brain and just roll through stuff, and this build allows you to do that. It's also ranged, which again, I don't really do ranged a whole lot, but that's pretty much the gist of the build. I hope you liked it. Again, like the video and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section as well. Maybe you have another build, or maybe you want to see something in application, and tell me what you thought of this one also, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.